up? What's up? I don't have a lot of time, and I just want to go ahead and start this video as you come in, whether it's through the replay or if you're catching this live. What's up? My name is Latoriea Quinshae. I'm a community psychologist. I am also a former trauma specialist. That's in my physical life, but I'm also a very spiritual being that has been trying to do my work, basically. And I am sharing content with those of us who are ready to grow, elevate, and connect with the next level of ourselves. Okay. So if you found this through the replay or if you're just catching it, the question of the day is, are you sabotaging your healing? Are you a Klingon? Are you clinging on to your past identity? Are you clinging on to your past trauma? Are you clinging on to what makes you most comfortable because that's what's been most familiar to you? I'm actually going to adjust my camera. I might even put this on pause a second. But I want to share something with you because, one, listen, we are coming into a time, a place, a season where those of us, because I got to talk to myself sometimes too, right? Those of us who know we came here purposefully, okay? That means we know not only did we come here for ourselves to have this living experience where our soul can elevate, where our mind can be expansive, where we can do all of the magical works that we're here to do, which is speak those things that are not, which is affect the atmosphere, affect energies, affect people, right? We've come here to learn, we've come here to grow, but not only for ourselves, we know we are purposeful here to set things in order so that those that come behind us can experience a life that we have been working on having. But let me tell you something. So often people are connected to their pain because that story has been a story that everybody will listen to. That story has been a story that connects all your energy, all your nerves. You get turned on, you got all the chemical releases that you feel like you need, but it's not serving no purpose. It doesn't do anything for you now. See, before it might have protected you. It might have kept people away from you that you really didn't want to deal with. It might have kept you out of environments that you weren't really ready to express yourself in. It might have kept you out of relationships that might have required you to come as your best self. But because you had triggers and trauma, you can come in with an attitude. And when somebody dismissed you, you was okay with it because you like being by yourself anyway. Oh, yeah, I'm talking to you. What I'm saying to you is you have been so connected with your trauma. You have been so connected with what pains you that it has become your identity. And now, when it's time for you to really let it go, it's time for you to really move on from it. You don't know how anymore. You don't know the lessons and the tools because you've been so connected to the pain. So I want to share some things with you so that I can help you get it right. Because here's the thing. There's going to come a time, a place, and a people that don't have time for you and your drama. There's a time, there's a, there's a time and a place for everything. But you have to realize that the time and place now is for healed vessels and healed beings because there's real work to do. And the real work is not fighting the chaos that's going on in the news. That's why I keep putting up, turn your TV off when I'm doing, showing you how to do mudras, showing you that you need to meditate. I'm trying to express to you that this is a time for you to get very intentional about why you're here and what you're here to do. A lot of people want to play the game of being, I don't see it. I don't know what's going on in the world. That's not my problem. I can't be bothered. I got too much going on. So many people want to dismiss what's really going on in the world so that they don't have to do their real work. But see, there's going to come a time and a place where you got to look in the mirror and you're going to have to really identify yourself. Who are you and why are you here? And what is your purpose? Because I tell you what, if you fail yourself, that is the nastiest death that you could ever experience, which is death to self. Not in the sense of, oh, I'm going to turn away and not be selfish. I'm saying I'm going to turn away from my purpose is the worst death that you could experience. because then you would have wasted time, energy, experiences, and lessons. It would all be for nothing. It's going to all be for nothing if you don't tap in now. So I'm talking to you. If you found this, I thank you. I thank you for clicking on this video. If you found this, I thank you for taking your time and watching this. And I thank you for showing up. Not for me, but for yourself. Because whomever is coming behind you and needs you to do your work, they're going to thank you too. So give me a second. Let me get myself together because over the weekend I had a bit of a fit physically where, I don't know, I went to my son's game on Friday. My voice started to change then. I woke up Saturday morning. I was in a cold sweat. My body hurt. It's not the flu. I don't get sick very often. I get sick. I can count on my hands how many times I've been sick in my 40-some years. I don't get sick very often. So to have this cold going on with a little roughness in my chest is a little overwhelming for me. And I got to get ready to go to a game. So I already got my mask ready and all that because I am not going nowhere and get nobody sick. However, I want to just take a few minutes and talk to you about what your pain is actually doing to you. Now, when I talk about pain, I'm not just talking about the physical pain that we deal with. I'm talking about the mental pain that we deal with. I'm talking about the emotional pain that we walk around with. I'm talking about the spiritual pain. You know, as a person who formerly goes to church, who is formerly, well, I'm still a pastor's daughter twice. Matter of fact, 3 times. My grandfather was a bishop. Both of my father and my stepfather, both are pastors. So I was raised in a very heavily religious family. And I refused to go to church for the most part. Let me tell you why. I've seen what religious traditions and rituals can do to people. And if you're not in the right place, you're not going to get fed. You're going to be actually vampired on. So some people have spiritual pain from religious functions, okay? People have mental pain because those who they've trusted, those who they had high expectations from, whether it was a parent, a lover, a friend, a relative, or someone in close vicinity to them, violated their space, violated their body, violated their mind. And so they're walking around with this emotional pain of how could you have hurt me? You got people walking around with physical pain from being emmed, being raped, being beat on, being tortured. And they walking around with these scars on their body and they look at themselves in the mirror and they're wondering, how can I be beautiful to anybody, including myself? So you see people all the time. They got all these smiles on their face. They got all this joy. Oh, look at me. People often wonder, how are suicidal people so happy at the end? You know why? Because they walking around with a facade. Put on a happy smile. But all on the inside, they murky. All on the inside, they dark. All on the inside, they just waiting on someone to say, baby, what's wrong? How can I help you? What's going on with you? Let me see you. But see, oh, nope, I got to put on a happy face. Nope. And so often we are sabotaging ourselves because if we just take down the mask, if we take down that fake stuff, if we take down all of the illusions that we want other people to believe we really have it going on and all that, if we take down all of that, it's going to strip us down to our human core, our spiritual core. It's going to strip us down. And then what happens is we have real, genuine, authentic connections. But so often people are afraid of that. They're afraid of that because they've been hurt. They're afraid of that because they've been rejected. They're afraid of that because they've been alone for so long and it feels good because it's comfortable. I'm sharing this with you because we are coming to a time and we're coming to a place where we no longer have the luxury of running and sabotaging ourselves. We no longer have the luxury of pretending to be all happy-go-lucky when there's real work to do. What is the real work? That real work is being intentional. That real work is being mindful. That real work is being truthful and being honest. The real work is helping someone else come along. And To be quite honest, it's the children. I'm not really here for a whole bunch of adults. I'm really here for the children. But most of the time, the only way to really get to the children is to stop the adults that keep hurting children, to start recognizing themselves. And I don't mean the ones that are like, you know what we seen in the news. That's why I said turn the TV off, right? We know what we're talking about when we say pedophiles. We know what we're talking about when we say those kind of people. But let's talk about parents. Those P's. How about we talk about parents that hurt children? Let's talk about teachers. Let's talk about daycare providers. Let's talk about social workers, psychiatrists, and psychologists. Those who are running from themselves as adults, who get in front of other people, innocent minds, children, putting on illusions and acts. Meanwhile, they're hurting on the inside, and now they turn around and hurt children who are hurting turn around and become adults who are also hurting. So if we're not dealing with the root issues of what's really going on with us, we all have a problem. We all have a problem. So your self-sabotage, you running from your healing, is not just your problem anymore. It's the problem for those who you come in contact with, who you owe more. Because you stepped into a role saying, I can do this work. You stepped into a role saying, I can handle this authority. You step into a role saying, I can handle this influence. But meanwhile, you won't handle yourself. That's who I'm talking to. Because we owe so many children right now. How do I know? Because I was once a child too. How do you know? Because I'm sure you were once a child too. And you know that if you had the right mentor and the right teacher and the right person telling you just early enough, a little bit earlier, think of how far and how different things would have been for you if someone would have just caught you a little bit earlier. Someone would have told you, believe in yourself just a little bit earlier. If someone would have exposed you to your own self-confidence a little bit earlier, it would have changed the game for you. So now that you know better, now that you can do better, it's time for you to turn around and teach someone else. However, if you're sabotaging yourself, who are you teaching? What are you influencing? What are you having authority over? Absolutely nothing, not even yourself. I don't want to be on here very long. Like I said, I got a game to go to. My son's playing tonight. So I'm sharing with you this simple thing right here. You're going to have to be honest with yourself. You're going to have to tell yourself the truth. That pain you keep walking around with, that's an illusion too. You've been walking around with a pain body saying, this is mine. It's almost, I have a blanket on, I'm cold, right? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, so I got this blanket on, I'm cold, right? But think about it. People are walking around here with their trauma. These are big adults walking around like this. I like my pain. No, you can't take my pain from me. No, I have an attitude because you know what? I've had to put my hand up to so many people. They hurt me, they hurt me, they hurt me. Meanwhile, you ask them, well, what are you supposed to be doing while you're here? Having an attitude. And guess what? This person I'm portraying is a teacher. You ever seen a teacher walk around like this? I have. I've seen teachers walk around, and please keep in mind, I'm a community psychologist, a former trauma specialist. I've been in the school systems. I've been in the foster care system. I've been around people who are supposed to be educators, administrators, sports coaches, and they walking around like this, grown folks still walking around like this, and they're teaching our children. Well, I don't like your kid because your kid didn't do what I said to do, and I'm going to suck my thumb because guess what? If my mommy would have been nicer to me, sounds crazy, right? But that's real life for us. We are sending our children to school. We sending our kids to the doctor. We sending our children to places and being exposed to grown folks that walk around spiritually like this. No, you can't have my trauma. No, I'm going to give you all my triggers because guess what? Somebody hurt me. All they had to do Let's put it down. Now, I know that sounds a little bit easier said than done, but that's why work is required. That's the real work. The real work is getting in front of the mirror and saying, this is who I am and this is how I choose to live. Starting with, I love myself. I respect myself. I honor myself. I choose to put myself in environments that only make me thrive or allow me to thrive or put me around people that are thriving so I can learn more about thriving. I'm reading it. I'm reading it. I'm reading it. Well, Jeffrey, I'm sorry they locked you in a room that was filled in rats at one time. Jeffrey said crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, a rubber room filled with rats, and rats make me crazy. Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, a rubber room. But now you're cured. I'm glad you're cured. I'm glad you're cured. Now, Jeffrey, it's time to go do the real work. Now that you know what it looks like to be in a crazy room, now that you know what it looks like to be unheard, unappreciated, undervalued, not considered, you need to recognize that in someone else and share with them how you healed. Share with them that it's even possible to heal. And sometimes that's not about going into a deep story about what you've been through and what you've experienced. Sometimes it's just you going around with a genuine heart, a genuine smile, a genuine gift of, hey, I can help you. I'm just saying, it's time for those of us who have been through some real things to help the next person up. Because everybody won't be here for forever. So if you can keep paying it forward, that's the assignment. That's the assignment. Pay it forward. Help somebody who needs help. Listen, I'm not a guru. I don't know it all. I don't even want to know it all. That's what I found out. I don't want to know everything. I don't want to be everywhere. That's not my plan. That's not my purpose. But if I can spend just a few minutes with anybody and help them understand that they are valuable, that they are worth being here, that there is a call for them, whether it's your skills, your talents, whatever it may be, I'd rather share that. I'd rather do that. You know, I love what I do. I'm a massage therapist. I have the healing touch. I know I do. I have people that come in all the time that say, I wish I could afford you. And that's not my job to be expensive or to charge people. I would love to make a lot of money as a massage therapist. I was listening to someone else on TikTok the other day, a masseuse. She says she makes $300 an hour. I got people who struggle to pay $30 for 30 minutes, and they have actual pain. But I'm willing to take people all the time. People walk in with cancer. People walk in with all kinds of ailments, and it's not just physical. Some people walk in here with spiritual pain, locked up, can't move their body. And if it's my work and my purpose just to touch them, and I'm not talking about it in an inappropriate way, so whomever is thinking that, I know that YouTube has some weirdos and things on here, but I'm not talking about it in that manner. That's not my purpose is not to take money from people, but my purpose is to exchange. Because they have something for me too. And normally when they come in and they share something with me, listen, I'm tell you a story and then I'm gonna get up off of here. I have a client that comes in, she's in her 80s. And it just so happened my stones weren't hot enough and I let them get hotter. And I took the stones to her feet. And she says, how did you know to put the stones on my feet this time? And I said, I didn't know to put the stones on your feet. She said, you had to have known to put the stones on my feet. And I said, well, why'd you say that? And she said, my feet have been swollen. If y'all can understand, I'm in Kansas. It's the middle of wintertime. It's been 30 degrees, 40 degrees. She's walking in here with sandals in her 80s. And she says, my feet have been swollen. I couldn't put no shoes on. How did you know to put hot stones on my feet? My feet have just been hurting so bad. And I said, I didn't know. I just do what I'm told to do. I just do what I'm purposed to do. And something just said, put the stones on your feet. They weren't ready when it was time to put on your back. I just put it on your feet. And she says, you know, you must listen to God. I said, it's not that I don't listen to God. I just pray before I get in here. Whatever my clients need before they walk in this room, whatever my clients need before they come into this place, I know that I have whatever it is that they need in. And I just pray to be a vessel, a good vessel, an open vessel, and do the work, the spiritual work. If it's just to hold hands with somebody and hold space, that's what I do. And so I'm sharing with you now, if there's anything that you're called to do, you're going to have to let the trauma go. You're going to have to let all those things that you run from go. Because the real work is going to require you to be bold. It's going to require you to be courageous. And it's going to require you to embrace what hurt you. See, I was a person that I didn't like anybody to touch me. For my own reasons. But growing up, you know, I can't really say I was like a pretty kid like that. But, you know, people can be inappropriate with pretty children or beautiful children. And so I didn't like people touching on me. I can tell you now how many times my mother has hugged me, how often my mother has hugged me. My mom don't hug me very much. I didn't like being touched. And to go and embrace the work of being someone that touches others, I'm very particular about how I touch other people. But see, if I kept running from what I was called to do, I wouldn't be touching anybody. I promise you that. I wouldn't touch nobody. So I'm telling you, sometimes it's the work that you're really supposed to be embracing, the things that you're running from, you're going to have to let it go. You know, if you're supposed to be a singer, a songwriter, a poet, and you have the gift of spoken word, and you don't like being in front of people, I'm sorry to tell you, now may be the time that you deal with your issue of being in front of other people, because it's time to hear new voices. It's time to hear new songs, new songwriters. As you can hear, they influence people all the time with music, with words, with entertainment. But all of those voices that have words have signatures. They're using frequencies. It's time for them to go away. But see, the people who are called to give the real gift of spoken word, they run in from themselves. And we don't have time to run from ourselves anymore. We don't have time to run from our purposes. We don't have time to run from our talents and skills. We don't have time to run, because guess what? There are people who are watching us run. And they are also learning to run. When it's now time to embrace, stop sabotaging yourselves. Stop sabotaging your call. Stop sabotaging. Your healing is purposeful. That means what you've been through is purposeful. You have to embrace it. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. I'm hoping I'm making sense to whom I'm supposed to be making sense to. You know, I had to learn a long time ago I'm not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. I had to learn a long time ago that, hey, my speech may be different than another speech. You know, I grew up very country, like extremely country, that people would be like, huh? 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 So I got to a point where I said, you know, I'm gonna talk proper. I'm gonna talk proper. I grew up in Kansas, but I'm really from Mississippi, so I was really country for a while. And people would just, I couldn't fit in Mississippi, and I couldn't fit in Kansas, so I had to find my way. So then I realized, you know what? I didn't care. The people that are supposed to hear me will hear me. The people that are supposed to understand will understand. It is now time. It's time for you to let it go and stop running from who you are really, truly here to be. You have gifts. Your gifts are not my gifts. Your gifts are very special. And if you know what I mean by your gifts, I'm not just talking about physical gifts. I'm talking about it's a spiritual gift. There are voices that need to be heard. There's hands that need to be felt. There's tools that need to be made. It's time for you to step out on your own. Come out of the shadows. Come out of hiding. It's okay. You know, you're looking for protection. Let me tell you, so many people are looking for protection, and I'm talking about adults. They want so much protection because it's dangerous out here. It's a cold world and it's dangerous. But I tell you what, You step out on faith with your tools. You step out on faith with your talents and skills. You step out on faith. All the protection you need, you have. It's already done. No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to take it from you. But the longer you cower and the longer you run, the longer it's going to take. Some people need a financial breakthrough. I'm going to say this part, I'm going to get off. Some people need a real financial breakthrough. Don't you know your financial breakthrough is through your healing? Do you understand what I'm saying? That wind of money you are looking for to take care of your family, to take care of yourself, to change your legacy, it will only happen when you embrace your healing and do what you are called here, this timeline, this dimension, this space to do. Okay, y'all. And no, Jeffrey, you're not crazy. Because if you're crazy, I'm crazy. I promise you that. None of us are crazy. The only people that are crazy are the people who are born in this time and running from themselves. You're going to drive yourself crazy. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to get through this life and not live the most expansive life you could have. Okay, one more story and then I'm going to get off. I was in a car accident some years ago. And like I said, I was in a car accident a few years ago. And, you know, it was a bad car accident. And truth be told, sometimes I do feel like I'm having an after-death experience. Life has been amazing since then. But I told God after I walked away from it, you know, all I want is the good stuff. I know what pain feels like. I know what hurt feels like. I know what walking around with trauma feels like. I know what walking around mad with everybody feels like. I know what it feels like. But I survived this accident. I want the good stuff. And what was said to me is, you're going to have to let it go. The things that I had to let go, I had to let go of the death of a child. The things I had to let go, I had to let go of abuse. The things I had to let go, I had to let go of betrayal in relationships. I had to let it go. I couldn't walk around mad and angry about stuff that happened 20 and 30 years ago. I couldn't walk around disappointed in those things. You know why? Because when my blessings came in, I wouldn't know how to accept it. I wouldn't know how to receive it. I wouldn't know how to appreciate it and have it and have it really truly be what it's supposed to be for me. I couldn't have had it. That's what I heard. You got to let it go. The past life, you got to let it go because you can't take it into a new life. The old stories you tell, you can't take those old stories into a new world. You can't. The things that you used to identify, I used to identify as fat. Okay, let me get real with it. I used to identify as fat. You know why? Because it was my layer of protection that I would have on so that people would leave me alone. You ever seen a fat, angry black woman? Have you ever seen a fat, angry black woman? Everybody leaves her alone. Everybody. And if she says she's going to pop you one, that's exactly what she means. Everybody leaves the fat black woman alone. But that was just the layer of protection that I walked around with. I had to let it go. You can go through my videos. You can look. I've been on a journey almost my whole YouTube career here. However you want to say it. Because I was always fighting it. Because it was how I kept a mask up. That's just my story to tell. You got a story to tell. And when it's time for you to let it go, trust me, it's going to snatch out of your hands. It'll snatch out. You can put it down gracefully or it can be snatched out. And if you're holding on too tight to it, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt real bad. All right. Ben Hall, I see you on here. And I'm going to say return to sender all the nasty, negative energy that you put out in the world. Return to sender every harmful and hurtful thing you've ever done to anyone in any capacity. See, for you to walk around here and want to put on a public platform, see, this is why I make sure I don't put anything for children. When y'all walk around here on public platforms and y'all put up nasty, vile things and expect people to be entertained by it, there's something wrong with you. I need you to get it together and stop being disrespectful. All right, that's not why I'm here anyway. I gotta go, y'all. Take care. Peace.